Is God here to answer my prayers?
Will there be McDonald's in heaven?
Will I be able to
about
fly?
people who've never heard about Jesus?
Is there only one way to God? Or do all have to be?
I think I need to pester a pastor. Hey everybody, welcome to Pester a Pastor. I'm Claire and I am joined by my friend Jeff, who happens to be a pastor. Jeff, let me think. What would be a fun question to ask you for our viewers? You're a pastor. Do you have a favorite book of the Bible?
Oh, that is such a hard question.
Buddy.
It's such a hard question. I love that question.
You have 3 seconds to answer.
Probably the book of Ephesians.
Ooh.
But part of the reason I love the letter to the Ephesians is because it points me to the whole story of the Bible being one big story. So
okay.
That's a little bit of a cheater answer, but it's also the honest answer.
Favorite verse from Ephesians?
Ephesians 2, 1:10 and 2:10. Probably 2:10.
Workmanship.
Workmanship.
Yeah.
But then I think 1:10 is the anchor of the book, that God has a purpose to unite all things in Christ.
Okay.
And that is the thesis statement that affects the rest of reality.
Great. I'm so glad to have Jeff back in the hot seat because we have all of these really tough questions about faith and God that kids ask. Are you ready?
Let's go for
a question.
I love these questions. These are such good questions.
Ooh, buddy, you might not say that after you hear it. Ooh,
Hit me with
I
it.
love this question. Will I be able to fly in heaven?
When we think about the idea of flying in heaven, I think a lot of us imagine, well, does it mean that we're going to be angels or we're going to be floating around and flying around on our own? I think the answer to that question is probably no. And the reason is because when the Bible talks about our future hope and the new heaven and new earth, we don't become angels who fly around. We actually have resurrected, glorified bodies.
Okay.
So we'll have physical bodies.
Those are big words, resurrected and glorified.
Yeah. Means that we'll be raised, we'll be alive again,
okay.
But also we will not have sin, death, sickness, all the things that hinder us now will not be a part of that reality. So we have new bodies in the new heaven and new earth. But we'll also live in God's creation and have things like culture and things like learning and exploring God's world and knowing one another and knowing God and doing that. And so to answer that question, I think the answer is maybe yes, if you mean flying airplanes and helicopters.
Okay.
And I don't know, the Bible doesn't necessarily give us a picture. Maybe there's a slight chance that you'd be able to fly, but really the Bible talks about a new heaven and new earth, like the Garden of Eden being restored and fulfilled. And so I do think if by flying we mean exploring culture and arts and sciences that lead to things like flying a plane or a helicopter, the answer is maybe yeah. We will be so glad to be there because we'll be in our forever home with the God who made us and remade all things.
That is really helpful. I think sometimes we're tempted to want to have these like big imaginary thoughts about heaven because the Bible just doesn't say a whole lot about heaven.
That's right. It seems like the point is less about what will it exactly be like, but what will the nature of heaven be?
Yeah.
And like there's a part in Revelation 21, I love how it talks about the walls of the new heaven and new earth. It'll be like a city.
Yeah.
And the walls, the stones that are on those walls are the same kinds of stones that are described in the Garden of Eden. It's like what the Garden of Eden was supposed to become is what the new heaven and new earth would be like. And that's where we do get a little bit of a picture of, with our resurrected new bodies, living in God's new creation with each other, will be such an amazing thing because we'll be with him in the home that we were made for. We can recognize the gifts that we long for, the things that we experience here, but also experiencing those forever with God.
Thank you, Jeff. That is really helpful. That gives me an interesting way to think about heaven. But if you had to sum up that question, will I be able to fly in heaven in one sentence, could you do it?
I think so. Let's give it a shot. Will I be able to fly in heaven? The short answer is we don't know for sure, and yet our greatest hope is that we will be with God forever and we will be able to experience his creation in amazing ways, which may include things like flying, swimming, running, climbing, but our greatest hope is in, even though there's a lot of mystery there, that we'll be with him forever.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, tune in next week. We'll see you later.